Good morning, all of you. Welcome to Young Science Leaders series. We are starting this new series from today onwards. On every weekend, we are going to feature several of the science leaders and emerging science leaders of today's society. So it's a privilege to start this entire series with my good friend Dr. Yogalakshmi KN, and she is also familiar with all of us earlier participants of the Science Leadership Workshop. This it is not really connected with any academies or the university or any other institute. It's just a unofficial young science leader series. And yes, she had volunteered her time and energy as a moderator for science leadership workshop, which recently concluded. Thank you so much, ma'am. So to introduce, it's my privilege to introduce Dr. Yogalakshmi. She's working as associate professor at the Department of Environmental Science and Technology at Central University of Punjab here in Bathinda. She did masters and PhD from Anna University in Chennai, one of the topmost university in entire Tamil Nadu. Anna University is located in Madras, that is earlier Madras, right now it is in Chennai. So she has worked earlier as senior project officer with the Ministry of Urban Development project with IIT Madras. And her area of research interests include water and wastewater management, energy from waste and wastewater, solid state solid waste management. She has developed an e-content for EPG Patshala solid and hazardous waste management. And for the uninformed, EPG Patshala is, it's a project by MHRD, and it's actually to foster one-way learning for all. It's completely free courses. There are thousands of such modules available in EPG Patshala website. You may access all those contents and videos and e-text completely free. I urge all the student participants to search in Google for EPG Pathshala and access all the contents. It's completely free. Dr. Yogalakshmi also developed a MOOC course on solid and hazardous waste management. The course is now offered at the MHRD's Swayam platform. Right now it is managed by CEC. It's also completely free course. Please go and check out the course and register yourself. It's currently open for registration. She has organized a large number of workshops in environmental science discipline for faculties under Pandit Madan Mohan Malaviya National Mission for Teachers and Teaching. And of course, there are several national as well as international collaborations, including Board of Nuclear Research at BARC, Bombay, and Anna University, Central University of Tamil Nadu, and so on. So thank you so much for your time here, ma'am.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Young Science Leader series, and I'm happy to welcome you here.
Thank you, Dr. Felix. Thank you so much.
So in this series, we are, yes,
yeah, please.
So this series, I want you to share your stories, the life story, and some inspiring pieces of advice to who are going to watch this program, and also some tips on mentoring, some tips on the young investigators. That is what the entire series envisions. Okay, so as you have already shared your PowerPoint with me, allow me to share those PowerPoint, and you may start your story right now.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Felix. Thank you so much for such a nice introduction. Good morning, one and all. At the outset, I would like to thank Dr. Felix for giving me such an opportunity and inviting me to share my experiences and my journey. And today I'm here just not to give you any lecture or about the research, what I'm doing on, or I'm not going to talk anything about a full-fledged science lecture. I would be keeping it as simple. I would talk about my life and my journey since my childhood till now. So, yeah, I come from a administrative family where like my father is an IPS officer and my grandfather, they are a member of Public Service Commission, and one was again an IPS officer, and he retired as Inspector General of Police, one of the highest position in those days. So you must know like what would be the expectation from me. Of course, my father wanted me to become an IAS because somewhere he he hoped and he thought like I have that potential within me. I have some leadership qualities and I have that academic, capability to some administrative capability. That is what he thought, and he wanted me to become an IAS. So yeah, I being an obedient child, I accepted and I started preparing for my civil service examination after my master's. So, but unfortunately, I couldn't bag it at the final stage. But still, while I was preparing for my master's, my father told me like you register for PhD. So I said like why? I'm good at it. I'm working on. I mean I'm preparing for my civil service, and why are you forcing me to do it now? He said, see, civil service, it's not an easy task. Of course, I believe that you can do it, but it is not an easy task. It needs a lot of hard work, strategy, and then luck. What if you're not able to get through? So you should have an alternate path. So that is how I actually ended up in academic field. So I registered myself in with the Center for Environmental Studies at Anna University for my PhD program. So yeah, so after my so I couldn't get through my civil service. Then I was actually a little bit disheartened, and then I was not focusing on anything. But still, I started doing my coursework. I was just going through like different uh, areas, like exploring different areas, like what I should work on, and like I was just looking into, but now not with full heart or full fledged contribution was not there. So one day, my supervisor was Mr. Professor Kurian Joseph. He's a professor now. So he called me and he said, he gave me a conference brochure, and he asked me to, you're going to present a paper in this conference. I was shocked. I said, sir, I've not started anything, and you're asking me to present a paper. What will I present? So he said, no, you can do it. Whatever we have shortlisted, you just take up that topic and write a review. To be frank enough, though I've been going through review papers and research articles to find out my area, and I was not aware like how a review paper should be actually written. So, but still he kept motivating me. So I took it, and then I worked for almost 10 days. And it was about, I mean, the last date was about only a couple of days, and then I gave it to my guide. So he sat overnight, he worked on that review paper, he contributed so much. And the next day when he gave it to me, the entire structure, content of the paper was modified in such a way. I mean, it was like a review paper. Actually, it looked like a review paper. So that point of time, two points hit me. One, can a supervisor contribute so much in an overnight? If he can do so much to bring back, to bring a shape to my paper, so I should learn this thing from him. That was one thing which motivated me. And that was the actual time which actually I started focusing more on my PhD. So then we started working. Then I presented that conference. That was a different story. Then I started working, and then we were finalizing the topic. And he suggested me a topic. That topic was actually very new, and hardly within India, if you say, I could get only one or two people who were working in this field. Rest, it was completely new. So that time, my guide, he had a project, a Sweden funded project. It was a huge project, and all my PhD batchmates, whosoever were working with Professor Kurian, they were accommodated in the project. So I was feeling a little bad. I was thinking like, why my supervisor didn't accommodate me in the project? Then I thought, okay, so fine. I didn't want to ask him, so I continued with whatever topic he gave, and then whatever. Actually, if you see, that topic was full of difficulties and full of challenges. I, being a Master of Science student, it involved a lot of engineering aspect, engineering design. So I had to learn a lot of designing, because it involved designing of a reactor. Then I have to fabricate a reactor. I have to find people around to fabricate my reactor. Then there were a lot of troubleshooting. To set up the reactor, I had to go through a lot of troubleshooting was there. Almost 1.5 years to 2 years of my PhD I spent in designing, fabricating, and then troubleshooting. So this gave me a lot of experience. I learned how to design, how to fabricate, and how to troubleshoot. Every day was like a war situation for me. And I had to do a lot of things to set it right. Yeah. So years went, and I started collecting data, and I started collecting data. Okay, it was coming, and then the uh, believe me, the day I got, I started collecting the data, I felt so happy when the results were actually turning up. Then, okay, with this, it was going. This reactor, see, the department or the center where I was working as a research scholar, the labs were established by German funding. So there used to be a lot of conferences, workshops, everything would be organized. Very frequently they used to organize, and many people from outside the country, from US, Europe, Western countries, they used to frequently visit our university. So whenever there's a visit, my reactor would be exhibited. They'll come to the lab, they'll show me my reactor, which I have fabricated, or membrane bioreactor, which I was working, that would be exhibited, or I had to demonstrate to those people. So everybody who had come, most of them, they said they offered me a postdoc position. They said, once you complete your PhD, just write to us. We'll be happy to give you a postdoc position. But that day, I actually realized, yeah, something, see, that was actually a new topic. I was actually worried, but still that gave me a very good results and fruitfulness. I was recognized not only in the department as well as people who visited. They were also recognizing my work. So I felt so motivated. I felt so happy. That day I thought, okay, even if I would have joined my supervisor's project, maybe I would not have got so much of recognition that which I've got when I was working with membrane bioreactor. Yes, this is one thing. So I would like to say all the audience who are young researchers or teachers in their early career, go do it. Whatever comes your way, just take it, put your heart and soul. For sure, you can excel, and that will be recognized at not even to, not, if not today, at one point of time, you will be recognized and you will be appreciated for the efforts that you put in. Then, yeah, coming to the next part, it's not a duty of a researcher just to generate data. We are not technicians, we are research scholars. So whatever data that we obtain, we have to communicate it to people. We have to show that we are working on it and we have got data. These are good data, so that people can use, people can recognize. So publication is one important aspect. I believe research scholars, research scholars, they, even I was little hesitant, reluctant to write what I will write. As I told you during the conference, I gave you an example. So with this data, I wrote a paper and I went to my professor, and then I gave him a paper. I had prepared the manuscript for a very high impact factor journal, bioresource technology. For people who might know, that time it was having an impact factor of 4.5 to 5, and now it has reached up to 7.5. So when I gave the manuscript to him and said, like, I would like to publish in this journal, he said, see, Yoga, this is having a very high impact factor. You can go for 1 or 2 to start with. Why are you planning for such a high impact factor? I said, no, sir, this journal, this manuscript would fit for this journal. And I believe somewhere that it will get accepted. He just smiled, and then he said, he tried to convince me, but then he said, okay, fine, you go ahead. So I submitted. But of course, the paper got rejected with comments saying, like, you have to get it checked with, an English native speaker, and with little bit of comments like the structuring, and otherwise the data wise, there was no problem for the editor. So again, when I went to my professor, he said, okay, he was like, I told you, but you didn't accept my suggestion. But still, I said, I'll get it done. So I worked on the paper, I revised it as per the comments of the reviewers, and I rebooted all the comments, and then I submitted again to the same journal. Then the paper got accepted. So what I'm trying to convey here to the young audience is that See, follow your heart. If you feel, be confident, be bold, follow your heart. If you have worked and if you feel that your work can be published, for sure, go for it. You have to convince your supervisor. See, research is your baby. This is what my supervisor used to tell me, and I've taken it from him. Always he used to tell me, see, research is your baby. You have to bring it the way you want. You have to mold it. You have to come out. So it is your baby. So believe in yourself, trust in yourself, and then keep going and keep yourself motivated and then get it published. So publications is very, very important for people to be aware of your studies, for people to know what you're working, to know your data. Don't get disappointed, don't get dejected if it gets rejected. Of course, even I felt bad the day when my paper was rejected, but still finally I could do it, and that was a starting point. And that paper, wherever I went for my IIT job, or when I joined the Central University of Punjab, that paper was appreciated, that you have a paper in bioresource technology. It was actually good. So do it as per your thoughts, follow your heart, and be confident enough. Yeah. So after with this, then I submitted my PhD, and then I joined IIT Madras as a senior project officer in a project that was funded by Ministry of Urban Development. Now, in the project, there was 9 coordinators, and all of them, they used to tell me, see, you're wasting your potential. Okay, of course, you are gaining some experience in the project, but you have to enter into academics, and you will have you can excel. See, when people around you, when they understand what you are capable of, what more you need, that becomes a great motivation. So now this project, again, this was connected with my PhD work. The efforts that I put during my PhD work, like designing, that actually fetched me this job. So here, this project was again the constructing or establishing the decentralized wastewater treatment plants in 2 major cities like Trichy and Guntur. Trichy is in Tamil Nadu and Guntur is in Andhra Pradesh. Yeah. So there again, it involved collecting a lot of field data, then designing, and then report writing. So here in this project, I gained experience on how to collect the field data, how actually in the field you can collect data for constructing a treatment plant. So for people who don't understand what is decentralization plant, see, centralized plant, the water that is collected from the households, they are taken through the sewer system, and there's a common treatment plant where it will be treated, and the treated water will be disposed of or discharged into the water bodies. Now, decentralized plants are small plants which you can construct it for a small township, for an area which is having 100 to 150 houses, even for institutions like universities, where you can treat the wastewater, then use it or reuse it within that locality. So that is a decentralized plant. So this project again gave me a huge amount of experience, and I was designing, and again, as I told you, everybody was saying like you have a lot of potential, you have to explore in the academic career. Then one day, my one of my project, I mean my PI of the project, she called me. She was Professor Liji Philip. She called me. She said, "See, Yoga, I'm not going to extend your project because you're not. You're not exploring your career. You're wasting your time here." See, a PI believing in you and telling you like you have to focus and you have to go. That's actually a big thing. So again, then I was a bit worried. Okay, what if I'm not? What if my ma'am does not extend the project? So now I have to search. And that is a time when I came across the employment notice of Central University of Punjab, and I applied, and luckily I got into it. Now, again, this is a different phase of my life. I'm a cocoon baby. I'm a pampered child. I've not gone outside. I've stayed at home. I've not stayed away from my family. So traveling all the way from Chennai to Punjab, which is culturally different, the environment is different, people are different, and how am I going to? And it was a new phase of life, but because till then I was just a student or a project staff I would be working under somebody's guidance. Of course, individuality would be there, but somebody would be there for you. Somebody would be there to guide you, to mentor you. But this is something completely different where you're going to be an independent researcher, independent academician. So there was a lot of challenges, again, a lot of difficulties traveling away from home. But of course, coming from a police family, I was bold enough. I had that courage to come to Punjab and join. Because, of course, Punjab is also in India. So being an Indian, I shouldn't be bothered to join anywhere in the country. So I, again, joined here. Now, as I told you here, it was exactly different phase of life. In a day or two, when I joined this university, I had been given 3 MPhil students who are MPhil PhD integrated students. And now here you are going to guide students. Now there I understood, like, it is not what you are thinking, you're going to put it on paper or you're going to get it done. Now students will have a different thought. You cannot expect your level of thinking from the students. Of course, there will be students who can think much more than you. If you have such a student, accept them, then guide them. That is one way. And if you have a student who is having a lesser thinking or with lesser potential, now you have to get into that level and then make them understand. So that was actually different for me. So this is one part of research aspect where you're going to handle with students. And that's how I went about guiding the MPhil, PhD, and the master students. The other part was academics. Again, I was completely new to academics, and I've never even thought in my life that I would be teaching. And I don't know, like, it was actually surprising to me. I was actually expecting, like, how am I supposed to do it? Will I be a good teacher? I've never thought about being a teacher. Will I be a good teacher? Will I do justice to the job? But somewhere or the other, my mom, she used to keep telling me since my childhood, you would be a very good teacher. Whenever she told me that, I used to think like she's saying something. I used to ignore. But parents, they know about their child. They know like what potential their child has. So that day I realized, okay, I can be a good teacher. I can teach. So as usual, on the day one, I wouldn't say I had been a good teacher, but with time, I inculcated that skill of teaching. And within a span, a span of 4 to 5 years, I received the Best Teacher Award of the university for 2 consecutive years. So that day, again, I believed, okay, if I put my heart and soul in this, even I can excel. So again, a takeaway or key point here is, whatever comes your way, if you can do your best, if you put your heart and soul, work for it, hard work, you put so much of effort, of course, it will give you, you can excel in any field that you're entering into. That, again, then see, I was somewhere lucky enough in every part of my life. Like wherever I I had very good mentors. Like my supervisor, he motivated me. He gave me so much of inputs. He gave me a new topic and he said how to, directly or indirectly, he said how to, he taught me how to work. Then I had good mentors in my project who said, okay, you have to do it this way, that way. And who used to say continuously, you can do it. And in CUPB also, I had such good mentors. One was Professor P. Ramara, who was Dean Academic Affairs. Again, he used to tell me, write projects, write projects. He motivated me. I was very scared to write a project. I was not aware what to write, how to write. Then again, he told me, just look around. He didn't directly tell me like, okay, you can write on this. He said, you just look around. What are the regional problems that are existing in Punjab? Then you can pick one and then see how you can put your expertise and then start doing it. So that ways and many other ways, whenever I felt upset, or whenever I need a advice, I had a lot of mentors. A fatherly mentor, he used to tell me, he used to sit and then tell me, don't worry, everything will be okay. So he was one. The other mentor, I would say, is like Professor Ashok Dhawan. he was the one who said, okay, Yoga, you have a lot of leadership skills within you. You can do it. You should be part of some committees where you can work and then you can contribute. So that is how I entered into the NAC committee. When our university was about to get NAC accreditation, I was a part of NAC committee where I was involved in preparing one part of the NAC report. Then with the NAC, and then I was made a member of the MOOC committee, which is there in our university. MOOC is nothing but massive open online course, which Dr. Felix told you about. Then after being there in the MOOC committee, one day our Vice Chancellor, the current Vice Chancellor, Professor R.K. Kohli, he called me and Professor Ashok Dhawan. He said, like, MHRD wants our university to contribute or develop e-contents for the environmental science discipline, and you people have to work for it. But the time limitation which he gave us was very, very less. He said 6 months you have to develop e-content for 16 papers. It was a huge task. That day I was scared, like, how are we going to do? Of course, it was not my individual contribution. Of course, my entire department contributed. We had to, we collected lectures from, we found out experts who can contribute to this, but still it was a hectic job. But still, again, there were a lot of difficulties and then challenges, which again, I took it and then I developed the e-content for the paper Solid and Hazardous Waste Management. Now with that, the same paper we had converted into the MOOC course on Solid and Hazardous Waste Management. Now this course, I have put so much of effort that again fetched me a lot of recognition. In this MOOC course, there are a lot of participants all over India who have been registering into this course. Almost 4,000 to 5,000 people are registering for this course continuously. So imagine the recognition and the visibility that I've got through this e-content, which I've developed for EPG Pathshala and the MOOC course. So what I want to convey or stress here is difficulties would be there, but if you feel it as a difficulty and then ignore it, you cannot excel. So you have to take that difficulty as a challenge, convert it as a stepping stone. Don't take it as an obstacle or a hurdle. Take it as a stepping stone. And then if you do it again with full sincerity and full confidence, for sure you can excel. So this is again one important thing which I have learned here. Apart from this Central University of Punjab has pruned me both in academics as well as research. I'm involved in a lot of committees where every day I get to know, learn a lot of things. Now, I have a lot of academic responsibility and have a research responsibility. I have to focus both, but the time does not, time is just 24 hours, but still, again, it is very difficult. But if you, being at this young age, you have to do or put in so much of effort, then only you will be recognized. If your aim is just a job, then job is nothing but your aim is just to earn money, then your perspective will be different. But my purpose was to make a career in the environmental science and technology field. So that ways, so you have to take it, when career means you have to look into different aspects. You see how you can grow. You have to you have to list out like what you're going to focus on, how you're going to increase your visibility, how you're going to do it. So you have to systematically plan it and then strategize it and then get it done. So this is again one key point which I would like to convey to the audiences. Don't get, don't hesitate. Take the challenges as it comes, and then you can, if you put your heart and soul, you can excel. Now, then the key mantras, whatever I have learned in my journey, and what I want to convey or which I want to share it with the participants, like be bold. I was bold, but of course I had little hesitation. I had to come out because I told you I was a cocoon baby or a pampered child. For me, I'm not such outspoken. Of course, I'm bold. I think, okay, what if I cannot do that? Hesitation was there. Still I have it, but still I'm trying to overcome it every day. Now again, one, be bold. Don't underestimate yourself. As I told you during the paper submitted when I submitted to the bioresource technology, don't underestimate yourself. Don't think, okay, my work will not be accepted. My work will not go in an high impact factor. It's not like that. Anybody can work. You can also do. You can also excel yourself. So don't underestimate yourself. Take up challenges. Where as and when it comes, take it as a challenge. Work for it, strategize it, and then of course you can do your best. Then keep going. Don't rest. This is the time where you have to perceive. You have to have that perseverance, and then keep going, keep searching. If you feel yourself dejected, then bring that inspiration in you, bring that motivation, have self motivation. Watch, look into. Now how I get self motivated is that, see, I used to listen to certain lectures, especially the science leadership lectures. Many lectures I have learned a lot, many things from these young as well as the leaders who had taught me a lot of things. I've taken, the key takeaways are very, very high from this leadership talk. So what I used to do is I used to listen to such lectures and then keep motivating, and suddenly I'll feel, okay, now I can work on this. I can use this as an idea and then pursue it. So that is perseverance. Then have complete dedication. Have that sincerity, have that dedication for your work, and then put your heart and soul. Then hard work will never fail. If not today, if on the immediate day, if you're not getting any result, if you're the fruitfulness, of course it will come little later, and it will be sweet enough so that you can relish it. Then believe in yourself and choose the path which is less traveled. Don't take the path which many people have already crossed through. Again, the recognition will be less. So choose the path which is less traveled. Of course, you will have a lot of obstacles, lot of hurdles in that path. You have to do it, and sometimes it will look like a storm. After, not always when a storm comes, it's not like it is going to disrupt your life. Of course, it is going to clear your path. So take it in that way, motivate yourself, and then continue doing it. And as an environmental scientist, what I would like to say is, don't keep your research only at the lab level. Don't just for the sake of publication. Of course, publications are important. Publications are important to give you recognition. Then apart from that, your career, like your APA scores for next promotions, that is again very, very important. But no, don't stop with the publications just for the sake of publication. Just take a little small piece of work which already people are doing, and then what to say, like continue doing it and then publish. No, find out a work which can give recognition on a longer term. Put in your thinking, consciously decide a problem, and then work for it. Maybe take risk. I'm sure it will have a lot of risk. Start doing it. It will have success. Ultimately, what will happen? Either it will have give you success or it will fail. Even through failures, you can learn a lot of things. So once you do it, don't keep it at the lab level or the bench scale level. Take it to the field. See, at the end of the day, we are for the community. We have to do something to the community. So whatever research you're doing, if you're able to upscale it, take it to the field and commercialize it, so that at one point of time, if the community is able to use it, then that is a success. So participants, what I would like to convey here, choose a research, take it in such a way that you are influencing your, you're contributing to the community. Next slide. So as an inspiration, what I want to say is, see, don't think like, well, will I be able to do a research? Can I be a research scholar? If you have little bit of curiosity, that is sufficient enough. Curiosity is science. If you have that curiosity within you, and if you have that will to work, then for sure you can be a very good scholar, you can be a very good academician. And as I told you, research and education is the future of the country. See, in the COVID pandemic situation, now we are all waiting for vaccine. So you need a lot of research. It involves a lot of research. It's not a one-day work, but still, research and education is the actual future of the country, where every individual, every one of us has to contribute and then make research. Through research and education, you have to make our country prosper. Then nourish and enrich yourself. All that, I mean, don't take it only, okay, teaching and research, everyday routine, that becomes a routine. But try to attend such lectures, try to listen to people, try to take some things. Don't think like, okay, what he or she is going to say. Every individual will have their uniqueness. You can get something out of whatever they are talking. So nourish yourself and enrich yourself. For nourishing and enriching, what I also do is I keep I would like to attend a lot of conferences, not only in India but also abroad. I've visited many places, like I've presented my paper in France, then USA, uh, Thailand, then Malaysia, Singapore. I have presented my paper in many places. So at the end of the day, what do you get? Again, you will be aware like what people around you are doing around the globe, how they are working, how they are doing it. Networking, you get a lot of networks, you get a lot of people, you get to know what people are doing, and you create a network, you talk to them, and then you create a network. So nourish and enrich yourself, that's one thing. Then brainstorming is very, very important. See, of course, individual efforts are appreciable, but the same thing, if you put a collective effort with a team or a group of people, that again, the results would be awesome. Because every mind thinks in a unique way, and when it is a team or a group, more effective would be the solution. So brainstorm and have a collective effort. Then publish your work. That is one important thing, which again I would keep repeating for the audience who are young researchers and young faculties who are in early stage of their career. Publish your work and try to write or share your thoughts through science communication, which this science leadership talk has been conveying it continuously for the past, in the last series, as well as even today afternoon, you have a 3 o'clock, you have a talk. There again, science communication would be shared with you. So share your thoughts through science communication. Try to educate even small kids about science. Then as I told you, keep widening your horizons. Don't just stick on to one particular way, or one way, whatever you have chosen. Widen your horizon, see what people are doing around, and then keep increasing your knowledge. Knowledge is one great wealth which nobody can steal it from you. Then at the end, reach the community through science. Whatever research you're doing, if it reaches the community and if the community is getting benefited, that is the day, as a researcher, as a scientist, how you are going to excel and how you're going to do it in science. That day would be a very important day in any researcher or scientist's life. So with this, I would like to end my talk saying, like, if your actions inspire others to dream more, to learn more, do more, and become more, then of course you are a leader. I hope my talk has inspired you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, ma'am. It is amazing, really. You have covered a lot of things from your early childhood, and especially your parents. You're a IAS officer's daughter, and then even then, you actually persevered to choose a career in science. So, in the basic sciences, and then from the IIT days, you learned the basics of the structural design, for example, and engineering drawings, and then you fabricated your first bioreactor. Come on, it's amazing. It's an inspiring story. And I'm also amazed that you have been listening all the talks in our earlier series, and the series had been useful to you. And yes, I'm also doing the same thing while I'm doing this moderation. I have my own notebook and I'm scribbling down the points. So everything we have to learn from each other. I think there is amazing topics that you have covered today also, and many of the the topics that you chosen today. For example, the thesis is yours, and you will have to do it. That is the same thing that resonates Professor Jamil's talk also. I was just thinking about his talk, and it's amazing. A lot of coincidences and messages, of course, and the good messages that you shared. And yes, so it's a great your story is amazing, and I'm sure that many of the participants will be happy to listen to your story, and I'm sure some of them will be inspired about your struggles in your life and choosing a career in science, and especially on mentorship you have touched upon, and also the importance of going for conferences and making social connections, and as well as publishing in quality journals. Everything matters. And also I like one of your statement that the country's future is education and research. Absolutely. So we should not forget the importance of education, and especially giving back to community. That spirit is amazing. Many of us simply do the research for the sake of getting some papers and some kind of journal, even high impact factor journal, without any what Thomas Kuhn says, paradigm shift, or any translation to the tangible product, and they just publish it. They will change the parameter, and just for the sake of publishing to get a job or getting promotion. So that is not exactly what we really have to envision. We have to give something back to the community. Amazing. Yeah, I really enjoyed your talk. Now, going back to the questions, we have several of the questions coming up here. So, who were your role models when you were a child? Of course, you mentioned about, I think, Kuriakos. I'm not sure, your PhD mentor from IIT.
Kurian Joseph, yeah.
Kurian Joseph, yes. Other than that, when you were small, is there any books, special books, or some role models or science leaders that you would like to follow their footsteps?
Yeah. So my role model as such, not in science, generally, if you see, my role model is my father. Everywhere I used to say, like, he is my role model. That is for every child, the parents would be the role model. Apart from that, the way you told me, like, you have to contribute to the community, the way he served the people. Every time he used to say, so we are a public servant, we have to contribute a lot to the public servant because we are there for them. So that is one thing which I have taken it for my research also. So don't stop it till your lab just for the sake of publication. Contribute to the society. So he is my first role model. And in science as such, if you see, there were many mentors. I've taken many things from many people. And I like Abdul Kalam. Professor Abdul Kalam, I like him. I was lucky enough to listen to his talk because before becoming the president of India, he was there in Anna University. So he used to visit our center frequently and he used to talk to the students. He used to give some lectures. So that is a point, a man of such a simplicity, even becoming the president of India, he was so simple. He didn't use, my father used to say, see, he doesn't even use those privileges which a president of India gets. So, and he's so down to earth. And if you look at his science, when he talks science, it will be at the level of the students, or if it will be at the level of school students, college, university, and he has done a great science. So I admire him, I adored him. So he was one of my role model. And the books, the Igniting Minds in India 2020 was my motivating factor.
Okay, so I also did my master's in Guindy campus of the University of Madras, so which is actually inside the Anna University, but it's not connected. So yeah. I'm also privileged to actually listen to Dr. Abdul Kalam's number of lectures. So because he is a regular visitor to the Anna University, of course, it's alma mater as well. So I'm also privileged to meet him personally in the Anna University campus during those days. And I can also share that when I also do this science communication outreach quite often, especially in schools, and I prioritize only the government school. And wherever I combine that with my own personal tour, last year around this time, I went to Andaman and Nicobar Island.
Okay.
Yes, Odisha was in December. So
Okay.
when I went to Andaman and Nicobar Island, in the port there, I went to Navy school. So I was not expecting anything. I just interacted with the kids. I spoke about my Antarctic expedition to them. Then I went to the principal's room, and the principal said that, Felix, we had similar kind of a visitor few years back, almost a decade back. And would you like to see who is that? And he shown the visitor's book. It was Abdul Kalam. He visited the same school. He donated some books to the school kids, and he interacted with them. Such a down to earth. He is an amazing person, and simplicity is his hallmark of the life as well. So now coming to the some other questions here, could you please suggest some good colleges or university for pursuing environmental sciences discipline in India? It's actually for the BSc. You can also speak a little bit about, are there any place for BS-MS integrated program?
BS-MS, so the environmental science discipline, every discipline, every course has a compulsory paper, but BSc as such, it's hardly one or two colleges, private colleges, they have BSc. I heard like University of Calicut has this BSc environmental science, but apart from that, environmental science is given as a subject in the master's program. And as MS, Anna University, you can do MS in environmental science with MSc or Master of Engineering as a base master's degree, and after that you can do MS. Apart from that, many of the MS courses are popular abroad, outside the country. And other environmental science, which is excelling, of course, Anna University, then IIT, also our Central University of Punjab. Environmental science is actually good. But as such, if you see environmental science, you know that is a compulsory paper for all the disciplines.
Okay, so for the PhD level, do you suggest any special places where you can do that? For the PhD in environmental sciences, some renowned institutes in India, and also the question is about the funding for the PhD. So, what kind of the organization one can approach for getting a scholarship while pursuing the PhD in environmental sciences?
Yeah. Funding, I'll start off with funding. There are agencies, UGC gives funding for PhD students, and you have scholarship for minority students, the Maulana Azad Fellowship for minority students, and also Rajiv Gandhi Fellowship for SC/ST students. Then UGC as such gives fellowship, and these are the major fellowships that are available.
And the institutes
and
for the PhD?
Institutes in Anna University, Department of Environmental Science. Within Anna University, you have environmental science department is there, and if you're interested in water, you have Center for Water Resources, and if you're interested in marine sciences, Center for Ocean Engineering, ocean resources are there. Soil science, it is there. And some specific technology wise, if you see, you have AC Tech campus, where they do specialize in membrane technologies, the recent technologies and all. And there are a lot of IITs which they work, specifically they focus on environment, like IIT Roorkee, IIT Kharagpur. They work on they do a lot of work in environmental science. IIT Madras, and we have our newly established central universities. They are doing a great job. And Central University of Hyderabad, again, there is a Center for Earth Sciences. Then a lot of IISER Kolkata, they have a lot of IIT Bombay, yes, environmental science. See, all other IITs, the environmental science comes under engineering, civil engineering, they have environmental science under that. But IIT Bombay, they have a dedicated center for environmental science. So that they are doing a lot of work. There are a lot of PhD students who are joining. And private institutes, if you ask me, there is, of course it is private institute, but they are excelling a lot in the research. Like the VIT, Vellore Institute of Technology, you have SRM. They are also doing a very good work in research.
And I can also add Terry. Terry is private,
yeah, I
though
forgot. Yeah.
they're doing a lot of yes,
Yes, Terry.
some things there. And NEERI is also there, right? NEERI Institute
Yes,
for
sir.
NEERI.
NEERI, it's they also guide the PhD students, but they
Right.
don't, not for academics, but NEERI, yes, NEERI,
Okay.
and even CLRA, the
CLRA or
Central,
Leather
yes,
Institute.
yes,
Okay.
they
Very
also
good.
accommodate students.
Okay. And also there is a related question here from Rekha Kokanti. Rekha is also very active participant in our
Yes,
last
I have
workshop.
seen her. Yeah.
Yes. So Rekha is asking, ma'am, what are the options for postdoc fellowships other than ICER or NPDF or Women Scientist Program?
Postdoc, you have Kotari Fellowship. You have then Kotari. You have DST Inspire. That is one big opportunity. Then IITs, they have special fellowships, especially for women. They have a few postdoc positions there. Then you also have overseas fellowship, like for minority students, you have overseas fellowship that is there. And Fulbright, see, not in India, Fulbright fellowship is one thing, which is actually Fulbright DAD fellowship. You can use that, where you can gain experience from outside the country also.
Yeah, I can also add on my own scholarship Next. I was actually, there are several such schemes by MHRD, Ministry of Human Resources and Development, and these are bilateral schemes offered by foreign countries. For example, Commonwealth Scholarship, or the Cambridge Nehru Fellowship, or the Swiss government scholarship, or Chinese government, the Japanese government. MEXT is Japanese government scholarship, Canadian government. I mean, there are a lot of scholarships. MEXT is open right now. So if you're a student, if you're looking for a PhD opportunity, you can approach me. I can guide you how to write a good proposal for the MEXT. No problem at all. You're free to contact me. And
I would like to add that Kiran Fellowship and Women Scientist, ABC, 3 categories are there. People who have taken break in their career, they can also apply and then get it done.
I see. Now, there is a very interesting question coming from Minal Batra is asking again about the break, and as well as you as a women scientist. So how to get back to academic track after a long break? How to motivate yourself? Comeback is difficult for women.
Yeah, women, if you have a break in your career, of course, it is little difficult, but I would suggest, don't get dejected. Slowly you have to bring intact, not if not at the you cannot get into the track on the same day or in a week or month. Slowly inculcate the habit of reading. Just read, listen to talks, read research articles, listen to talks. Then if you're very interested in science, look into the current developments that are taking place. Then talk to a mentor who can understand your difficulties. Like, for example, if you have to go early, you have to if you take little time, or if you come late. So if your mentor, see, everything depends upon your mentor. If your mentor or supervisor is accommodative, if he or she is able to understand your problem, of course, I don't think anything would be a barrier. Of course, family support is very important. You have to convince them. If your family is accepting and understanding your urge to make a career, for sure, I don't think anything can stop you from excelling. That's the main thing.
Swati Chaturvedi is asking, ma'am, if you can tell something about scholarship for the last year PhD students, as without fellowship, research becomes very tough sometimes. So I think Swati is referring that maybe if you go for extension, the final year becomes without any money. So how to get any money for during that time? Maybe that is.
Sir, she's asking about after post-graduation.
No, she's asking about the last PhD. She's a PhD student. The last year, it says that there is no scholarship. Last year of the PhD. So again, that is, you cannot generalize. Yes. Many people finish their PhD within their fellowship time. Maybe she went for an extension. Yeah.
I have to explore it, Shwati, because I'm not very sure like whether they give it for the last phase. Because I do remember some SRF positions are there. If your other fellowships are over, the government of India, they announce certain senior research fellowships. where you have to show, in terms of publications, if you have a very good publication, and if they are convinced, like, you'll be called for the interview. It's an open call. You'll be called for the interview. If that you get selected, then that is one thing. The other options I have to explore. You can write to me. Maybe I'll explore and then I'll get back to you.
Yeah, SRF is an amazing place. I think you should explore, Swati. SRF why not? It's a good option. If you have finished the SRF also, if you're going extraordinarily, your PhD is gone beyond any, like the first 4 or 5 years, then definitely it's going to be a problem. Otherwise, SRF is amazing. And I have seen that many PhD students, even after they complete their PhD, they continue the SRF till they become, postdoc. So again, there is an option. You can explore the legality of those things as well. Yeah. So we have one question from Nipu Kumar Das. How to tackle the situation when you fail in the first full-hearted attempt, in bracket, with a lot of valuable time consumed? So if you fail in your very first attempt, again, it's a non-specific question. Which attempt? Maybe he's referring like paper publishing. Who knows?
Even even experimental analysis, yes. Also. I would give my personal experience. As I told you, my reactor, the PhD membrane bioreactors which I was working, it used to run properly. Next morning, okay, I would be going, okay, fine, it is running fine. So I'll continue next morning. The next morning, if I come and see, the entire reactor would have drained out, all the sludge, wastewater. There would have been some leakage or some pressure problem. Everything would have come out. So that time I would feel like it is huge work. See, again, to cultivate the sludge and then acclimatize it, again, that cultivation itself would take 3 to 6 months for me. So one day it happened and I was actually literally in tears. I was not able to do anything. I was so upset. Of course, that point of time, I realized I should have had some standby. So that day I had a standby sludge culture also, so that when the next time I faced that problem, I used it as a standby. So what I'm trying to say is, every research, that is what is research. You will have a lot of failures. If you do it today, it will not work. Tomorrow, if you do it, it will not work. Suddenly that magic will happen and then it will start working. So I'm sure you must have spent so much of time on that. It is not working. See, research, it's not only about reporting positive results. Even the negative things and negative failures also can be a part of your research. So don't lose your heart. Of course, take a break for 1 or 2 days. You can, whatever you feel as, just think about your hobby, relax, listen to songs, just watch a movie, relax, just take a break for 1 or 2 days. Again, for sure, you can get back. People who are working so hard and then who are failing in the result, their mind will not sleep. For sure, after 2 or 3 days of relaxing, for sure you'll come on track and then you'll take it again and work with more josh.
Okay, so here is a follow-up question from the same Swati Chaturvedi, about the last year PhD. The question that earlier she asked, she's asking a question: is there any possibility of applying for WOS, that is WOS-A scheme, as I also have break in career before joining PhD? So WOS-A is, of course, to foster the women in science. So is there any possibility of applying WOS-A with the break in service?
The women scientists, I think she's asking about women scientists.
Yes.
Yes, you can apply these schemes. There are 3 schemes, A, B, and C. They are actually designed by the government of India only for the women, especially who had taken break in their careers. Again, if you read through, there will be, A, B, and C, there are different clauses which can help you. And even if you have a career break, that is only for women to get back into the career track. So you can have a look at it. Through that you can do, but only thing is the proposal which you write should be good and concise, good, and it should be like you should prove to them that you can do it within that particular time.
Okay, so Purnima DV is asking, Madam, now due to COVID-19 and holidays, PhD fellowship has stopped. What is next? So I think I don't agree with Purnima's, because I also have several PhD students, of course, yoga as well. And it's
Yes.
not that the entire PhD students, the fellowship has stopped. No, government is still paying out the money. They're working from home, and it's incorrect to say that complete PhD fellowship has stopped. Anyway, yeah, over to you, ma'am.
Absolutely. I agree with Dr. Felix. The government has not stopped anybody's fellowship. Even in our university, we are all working from home, but still we are sending their reports and then fellowship reports. Our university is paying them. So I don't think it is happening. Please talk to your supervisor or talk to the authorities. The government of India, they have not stopped the fellowship.
Okay, so there is another question here from Sauravi Kalita from Assam. Ma'am, what does a mentor look for in a postdoc research proposal submitted by a candidate? So I think she wants to apply for a postdoc, and she's writing a proposal. And what, as Dr. Yoga, as a supervisor, what will you look for in a proposal submitted by a prospective candidate?
Okay. Yes, it's a very good question actually. I would see how precisely whatever thing you wanted to work on, whether that research proposal which you have submitted, how much significance does it have? What is the credibility? Whether you'll be able to achieve it within that time. Like it should be, it should not be in air. Okay, you have to the cohesiveness and how much that is feasibility. I mean, I would look into the cohesiveness, feasibility, whether the target within the stipulated time, whether you will be able to achieve it. These are the main things, plus the scientific aspect. See, you're a postdoc and you're going to do a postdoc after PhD. Your publication strength, capability, and how efficiently you've written the proposal, you've put everything in one small, I mean, 200 or 300 words, how you have communicated, that is what I will look into.
Right. So here is a question from Susrud Subham. Is there any possibility of MSc chemistry to go for environmental studies PhD?
Absolutely, Shubham. Why not? Chemistry with environmental science is more advantageous because you can do a lot of, the mechanism, synthesis, and all. You can get into details because even as an environmental scientist, many of the studies, like I work on pesticide degradation, heavy metal contamination, like when it is taken up by the microorganisms or when certain enzymes, the mechanism involved, that a chemistry student can contribute highly. Also, I work on energy generation from the wastewater, where I work with microbial. My team works with microbial fuel cells and electrolysis cells, which involves a lot of chemistry. The electrodes and the nanomaterials we are trying to fabricate, and then we are trying to coat it. How each nanomaterial, how it is accelerating the growth of microorganisms, accelerating the electrochemical performance. So, in every aspect, chemist can contribute widely. So as a chemist, you can take environmental science as a career. I mean, for PhD.
So here is a question from Dr. Praveena Raman. How to find and narrow down our area of expertise? How to find out and narrow down our area of expertise? And she has also asked another question. Are there any online fellowship degree courses on research? Courses on research. So anyway, let's take her first question, finding out our own narrow area of expertise.
Praveena, like Dr. Praveena, yeah. See, you must have done PhD, right? So you have put in a lot of effort in that. So don't waste that effort. That has already become one area of your specialization. Now start working on it, and the branches which come out of it. So if you take my case as an example, I was working for membrane bioreactors for wastewater treatment and reuse. So my specialization has become membrane technologies and wastewater treatment. Now I have bifurcated, I have searched, okay, and also keep in mind what is the current requirement, the field requirement, and what is the current requirement that is there. So nowadays we have a lot of water shortage and then energy problems. So that is why I bifurcated, and then even today I'm working on wastewater treatment only, but I have little bit shifted into trapping energy from this wastewater. So keep your PhD as a main specialization and look into the branches of this, how you can bifurcate from this. That would be very good, rather than taking a different. For example, I'm working on water, and if you want to work in air in postdoc, I don't think then it becomes a specialization. So whatever is your base, try to build on that, and then try to bifurcate. And within the water and wastewater, you can look into the management aspect, you can look into the treatment aspect, physiochemical aspect, biological treatment. So stick on to that. So I'm sure I answered your question.
Yes, so yeah, I can also add on. Don't forget Robert Frost and his yellow, forest. Choose the road less traveled by. That is again you have mentioned in your presentation, Dr. Yoga. So we have another interesting question here. Nivedita Arambam. Nivedita Arambam. On transitioning from masters to the PhD, how can you choose the right guide with your topic of interest?
Okay. See, this choosing a supervisor, it's very, very crucial, and it's very important. See, if your supervisor is, if you've got a very good supervisor, I'm sure you throughout your PhD are not going to have any problem. So some people, they choose a supervisor just because, okay, nowadays I have seen in many students, they opt for a supervisor who does not ask much. Easy going, okay, whether you do or not to put effort, like, okay, my senior, I mean, if I join his lab or his or her lab, okay, they are doing something, I'll just modify it a little bit and my PhD is over. I don't have to put in search for a new field, put in so much of effort to find out something new. So that is how students keep choosing the guide. First, when you have to choose a supervisor, don't see like whether they'll be easygoing or whether they're tough, I cannot work with them. Look at their profile. Just go to the website, look at their profile, how they have contributed, what field they are working. For sure, when you're doing a master's, one field must have been impressing you, which would be attracting a lot of attention. So choose that field, check the faculty's profile, see whether whosoever is working in that field, how much they have contributed. Still, if you're interested in them, then you join. Keep exploring. Don't just to register or activate your fellowship, just find someone and then register. That is also wrong. And going for an easy supervisor, like he or she would not trouble me much. I can do whatever extension of whatever my senior is doing. See, that can fetch you a degree, but not a career. So choose a supervisor wisely who has actually contributed, who is doing actually good research. Choose them.
Okay, here is a question from Shailaja. Ma'am, is there any research program for government teachers, especially for females, without time limitation? I think Shailaja is asking, like, if you want to pursue PhD, a research program could be PhD. That is what she meant. And government teacher, I think she referred to school teachers. So if you are a master's holder and you're already working in a government school, so can you pursue the PhD part-time? Maybe that is what she meant to say.
Yeah, 100%. Absolutely, you can do it. But if you can take leave from your profession, then it is different. Or there are universities, some universities, not much. Earlier, there were many universities that offer part-time PhD. For example, Anna University offers part-time PhD. In my center, I have many of my batchmates who had been working in colleges, who had been working in schools, and they joined the part-time PhD, and they were pursuing it. For the initial period, I mean, they used to take in the last stage or initial, or on the middle after their coursework, they used to take one year break, and then especially in science, because you have to do some laboratory experiments and things like that. If you're doing a dry lab work, if you're doing it with some software, then you don't have to take any leave. But otherwise, if you're doing a lab work, if it involves lab work and all, you can take off for 1 year and then complete the work, and then rest of it you can work in the school, and then you can communicate with your supervisor and get it done. So that you have to choose a part-time PhD. If you want to do a full-time PhD, then you have to take off from your, off means not quitting your job. There are provisions. Every government job, they have a provision. They have some leave. Then you can study leaves are there. Then you can also apply from sabbatical leave, and then you can take this as a career.
Okay, so here is a question, the same question we asked but didn't answer yet. That is by Dr. Praveena's asked the question. Are there any online fellowship degree courses in research? And she followed up the same question with the further detail. I am a dentist, ma'am, MDS in oral medicine and radiology. So Praveena is a dentist with an MDS. She would like to take any online fellowship degree course on research. So I think what she meant to say is about research methodology. Is there any online courses?
Yeah, research methodology, online courses are there. You can, as Dr. Felix introduced about EPG Pathshala, you have a lot of research methodologies courses are there. But if you ask me online fellowship course, I'm not aware of it. But there are open sources. EPG Pathshala, if you visit EPG Pathshala, you will get huge materials on every aspect. If you want science, humanities, language, you have the MHRD has worked enormously, and they've collected from different academicians. You can get courses from that.
Okay, here is a question from Dr. Kshitish Kumar Khuntia. Do you agree that age should be one of the parameters for the research? Many of the research institute in favor of age restriction.
I personally believe age shouldn't be a restriction for research. But yes, that's true. Many institutes, they are saying like they have set a limit, but that limit is only for like if you're going to choose a career. But see, there are many people who just want to do research. They would be working somewhere, they want to do research. For them, the university doesn't stop them. Even in my department, I mean Anna University, I have seen, I still remember, he was almost a person, he joined to do research. He was almost 52 years old. He completed his PhD. I used to ask him, uncle, why you have joined PhD? He used to tell me, I'm so much interested, I want to do PhD, and I want to have a doctorate degree. So that was his and he used to say, I was trying hard for so long, but due to some family commitments and my professional commitments, I couldn't do. But still, he completed his PhD, he defended his viva, and he got his PhD at the age of 52. Imagine. So universities doesn't stop you from doing PhD at I don't know about other universities, but there are some universities which doesn't stop you. But if you're see, at that point of time, taking a fellowship or taking a career, it becomes difficult. That point, age, it's a restriction.
Yeah, when you were talking, I was just thinking about my own master's time in the Anna University campus, the Madras University Ginty campus. So we had a one classmate. His name was P. Saval. So maybe Saval is watching this show, who knows it. So Saval is from Sri Lanka, and we guys were like 20 years. We had just started our masters, and he was 32 years. The age would not be a restriction. That is what my own perception also. But unfortunately, the people, they want to curtail number of fellowship. We do have several constraints with the budget. So, we shouldn't simply blame the government for everything. So genuinely, there are actually the problems. So we'll have to see that how to actually move through, despite several constraints. So we will have to think positively towards the nation building. I can say that way. And again, Dr. Praveena Raman has followed up the same question. Very interesting. More and more details are coming up. She wanted to know whether there are any online or distant education fellowship degree course on clinical research. So her question is only about clinical research. Praveena Raman, Dr. Praveena, we are not from the clinical side, so we are not really sure. Are there any program on those lines? Dr. Yoga, would you like to add on something on?
Yes, sir. I am not aware of clinical research, like if it's there,
Yes.
but I can get it because my sister, she's involved in clinical research. Maybe I can get it. You can write it to me. I'll talk to her. If anything is there, I'll communicate it to you.
Yeah, so the clinical research, I have also featured some on one of my earlier video in the same YouTube channel about free courses. So there are several free courses available right now. You can take including Harvard University. These are
Yes.
MOOC courses. These are not completely, complete degree program, but these are individual courses that you can take, and it's free only during the COVID-19 lockdown period. You are welcome to watch the video, and you can register for the course through edX platform. And also there are several Mayo Clinic, for example, is offering a course on COVID-19, and COVID-19 tracing. The tracing, the contact tracing is now getting really famous now. A lot of new job opportunities are now opening on the contact tracing as well. So for clinical research, there are courses available. Unfortunately, I cannot recollect neither Dr. Yoga, but her sister is actually into the clinical research. You can write to her so that we can, work on those lines.
Yeah, I would like
we
to
have
add
several other questions coming. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes,
I would like to add to Dr. Felix whatever I said. There are a lot of courses in Coursera, Harvard, Stanford. They have opened it, they have kept it free till the pandemic lockdown period. I request all the participants to just have a look. I think Dr. Felix has done a course on AI, artificial intelligence. Yeah, so there are lots of courses are there. Just go through it. And doing a course in Harvard, that too free of course. These courses are very costly. So now it is free. Please make best use of it.
Yes. So as the time is already up, you have already spent so much time, and we have again several questions. I will pick one last question for this session. Sarita Mishra is asking, ma'am, I'm 35 now and pursuing PhD in toxicology from GFSU after 10 years of gap. Will I get a job as assistant professor after that, as I'm already 35?
I think you can apply. I don't think for assistant professor, I think 40 till 40, you have age limitation. And I'm not very sure. Maybe Dr. Felix can add on this. I'm not very sure. Like they have a restriction for assistant professor job. Do they, sir?
Yeah,
I'm not
usually
aware
the
of it.
universities do. Yeah, universities do have some university. I think it also depends upon which university you're applying. For example,
Yeah.
our own university, Central University, I don't think there is any age restriction per se. Any age you can apply.
Yes.
If you if you have a PhD degree plus net, that is our the basic requirement. It's not simple net. We also insist for the PhD plus net. So if you have PhD plus net, the age doesn't matter, but I know that some universities do require there are some age restriction at the entry level. But for associate level, there is no restriction. According to me, I have never came across any universities asking that, there is a limitation on the age. But for entry level, yes, there are restrictions. Some places do have. But of course, this question is asked by Sarita Mishra. Sarita, you are welcome to apply in Central University of Punjab. We don't really have any age restrictions, so why not give a try?
Yeah, and that too, we have pharmacognosy department and toxicology. You can do it. Our Dean Academic Affairs, he is an expert of toxicology. We have a very good department, pharmacognosy. You can join anytime. And when you talk about age, I remember IITs, they have that age restriction of 40 at the entry level. After your PhD immediately, because IIT assistant professor, they have 3 levels. So there at the entry level, they have a restriction for 40. And as Dr. Felix said, like if our university does not have that, and many universities, they don't have it. But even if you're not able to get into at the entry level as an assistant professor, you work in some other university, gain experience, and directly join as an associate. So that is one option.
Okay, so here the Meena Batra is asking, it's not asking, it's more like a suggestion. Please have one live session for PhD students on how to write a research proposal. I take Dr. Meena Batra's suggestion. Definitely, I think we should, feature one live session with few of the panelists, and we will cover all your doubt. Okay, I'm planning to arrange it maybe next week or so. I don't know when, but definitely we will. I will invite you, ma'am. You can also contribute in.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes,
so for the panel discussion. And thank you so much, Dr. Yoga. And it's an amazing, and we actually covered so many questions from the participant, and also your life story has definitely been inspiring for many of the viewers. I'm sure about it. Thank you so much, and my best wishes for your career.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. I would like to thank the participants. They have actually, I think I have inspired at least at least one person, because I can see a lot of questions coming up. To end up, I would like to say, there's a few lines in Hindi which actually I'm from Tamil Nadu, but these lines had attracted me. बुलंदी हौसलों में हो, असंभव कुछ नहीं होता, कदम बढ़ते हैं चलने को तो रास्ता मिल ही जाता है. That means if you have that zenith and excitement within you, nothing is impossible in life. And if you choose a path and start walking in that, for sure you will reach some place and you will get that way. So with that, I once again thank Dr. Felix for inviting me and then asking me to share my experiences. It was wonderful being a part of this first talk. Thank you so much, Dr. Felix, and the participants for listening to my talk. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. And that verse is really wonderful. Follow your heart and follow your passion. That's amazing verse. I personally enjoyed it. And for the participant, our next talk is by Dr. Adita Joshi. And she is now going to talk on science communication. So if you have any doubt on science communication or science popularization or even Ayurgenomics, she is working on the field of Ayurgenome. That means Ayurveda or medicinal plant combined with genomics. So any questions, you are welcome at 3:30. Today at 3:30. So I'll see you all back exactly at 3:30. Till then, goodbye and enjoy your meals.